back.
Woo!
The relaunch of The Cauldron.
Well, just proving that we're not pod fading, really, isn't it?
Should we explain that it's all my fault?
Well, it's hardly your fault that you had to move house.
Yes, and
Really.
it's just really not fair that I'm doing this with my mobile phone tethered for my internet since.
It's been what? Nearly a month now? 3 weeks? And you started organising the internet before that?
Oh, yeah, waiting for the internet for sure. But it's been at least 2, maybe even 3 months since we've done this.
Oh, well, that doesn't count though. Because we were busy and life and
preparing.
Then I found something
move.
to be about. I found something to be ranty about.
Well, do you ever feel like the world's still on fire?
Yeah, I do, and I want to rant. Much rant.
So who wrote this song again? What's his name?
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Yes.
Okay.
So as we were driving along, listening to. Oh, I'm responsible for this one. Listening to my Google Play thumbs up list.
Mm-hmm.
It came that We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel came on, and I'm like, oh my god, this is still relevant. This is still a thing. They are still doing this. And he wrote this song and released it in 1989. The year now is 2019. So that's a little while ago. So it's kind of shit that some of these things are still a thing. I mean, a whole lot of the references from his songs are about people who died during that period, because the song was originally written for between 1949 and 1989, I think.
Yep.
Yes, that is.
The 1940s is the first reference.
Yeah, according to our excellent source Wikipedia, 1949 is the first mention. So yes.
Yeah. You know, when you hear about things about the United States, you hear all these old names like Truman and Roosevelt, and you think, oh, that was like way back at the beginning. But no. I mean, 1948, is that a long time ago? Doesn't feel like history.
It doesn't feel like history, no. I mean, it's you could put it under the curtain of modern history, but I don't think that's how schools actually define modern history. I think modern history is like 200 years ago or something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
So this is current history, I guess. Because people from that time, people from 1949 are still alive. So
some of them.
Yeah. We are surprised that some of them are still alive, but others, I guess they did some good living. But yes, Billy Joel did some interesting living. But from what I gather, he is still kicking around.
And you know what I love about this song, from a millennial's point of view, just generally, you know, they're blaming the millennials. You know, we are in the oldest generation.
Millennials are 30.
Yeah, no. If you're not going to subscribe to the new Zennial, which we're apparently supposed to fit in, if you're going to go with the original definition of millennials, the first year any of them were born were 1980. You and I, are the senior millennials.
No, I am not an elder millennial.
You're not an elder millennial?
No.
You were 79?
Yes.
Oh, well, we just can't talk anymore because we're not a part of the same generation.
Oh, fuck that noise. The thing I have a problem with is that Generation X goes from I can't remember, to 1977 or 1978, depending on which source you look at. Sometimes it goes to 1979. And then millennial goes from 1980 or 1981.
Yes.
And I'm like, excellent. I am part of the lost generation.
No, actually, if you look at, well, I'll tell you then, you can be a Zennial then. I'll join you if you need. It's like that 5 years bridge in between those two generations, and they call them something different because we grew up in a time when we were kids and we didn't have the internet. And we were young teens and the internet was really slow and pathetic, and it was only just starting to, you remember dial-up? Yeah, right? And nobody knew how to use it. There was nothing to do on there except for like IRC and stuff.
Porn.
And yeah, not well. I mean, not
The
very good
internet
porn
is
at that day.
very
And
slow porn.
I mean, you'd get one picture load and you'd be done. So, and it wasn't like a ubiquitous part of our lives. We didn't have mobile phones in our back pockets for a long time.
I got my first mobile phone in 1998.
Yeah.
Yeah, 98.
Okay.
It was a Nokia, obviously,
The
and
brick.
it was a brick, and it couldn't send or receive text messages. But it could play Snake.
Yeah. I actually remember my first smartphone, and I was quite like, I didn't get the iPhone. I've never owned one. I got a HTC something. This is pre-Android, right? This is just, oh no, maybe it was, I don't know. Anyway,
I had
it was 9
Nokias,
years ago.
and then I had iPhone 3, and I hated it, and I've been Android ever since.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, I had one of the last of the old Nokias. I had a Nokia N95 that's still kicking around and still can charge somewhere.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's got some pictures on there that I don't want to share with the world, and I've got them saved other places, but I'm just like, but it's such a nice thing.
I mean,
to have a
that's the
spare
phone. Yeah, that's the phone that you pull out when the power's gone down, because you couldn't fit a SIM card in there these days. They're so tiny. They're not the right shape anymore. But yeah.
You can get embiggeners and things, SIM cards.
Embiggeners. You're an old woman.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I'm not going to even try to correct you because
you don't know what it's called either.
So let's
get back to the topic at hand.
Harry Truman.
Yeah, he died in 1972, so that's why he starts out as president in 1949. Well, he was sworn in 1949. But he died in 1972. I didn't think he was. I mean, he was interesting and he did stuff, but
yeah, he dropped. He's the only world leader in the entire world who has wholesale dropped bombs of a atomic nature on innocent cities. I don't actually know anyone else of any other situation where a country has used atomic weapons on another country.
No. There's been quote unquote testing.
Oh yeah, but that's
but yeah, not actually leveling a city.
Do you find sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, with nuclear or thermonuclear weapons. Nuclear?
I think you've said it in the American way. Nuclear.
No. See, I haven't said it in the American way. I've said it in the George Bush way.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Do you find that?
Hmm.
Do you find there's a really black irony in how paranoid the United States are about atomic weapons, considering
they're the only ones that have actually really used them.
Yeah.
Yes, it is hilarious how paranoid they are about that shit. It's also hilarious about how paranoid they are currently with all them brown folks that are coming from the South, from South America through Mexico. Oh, there's a caravan of people. And there's
maybe some of them are unarmed. Maybe all of them are unarmed for all we know. But this is an invasion.
Yeah, they're invading our country. But it's got nothing to do with the fact that we're irresponsible with our guns.
Our guns. I mean, you know when you walk into your house, right, and your dog's sitting there looking at you with the little doggy eyes, and surrounding the little doggy is just the bin scraps that they've pulled out and completely decimated, and they're like,
Yeah.
I didn't. It's
I don't know how this happened.
Yeah.
Well, see,
I feel
have
like
cats.
something in the American psyche realizes that I don't want to say deserve, because this is the wrong word. Nobody deserves that. But they've done it, and it's
to
like
themselves, and they don't want to cop responsibility.
Absolutely, but I mean, talking about atomic weapons, like you put that out there into the world, and you're like, does that come back to me at some point? They're terrified that there's going to be some reciprocity, and anyway.
And who will see it coming? It will be such a shock, and everyone will be outraged. Or something.
It'll be. I mean, oh my God, no! I don't want that to happen. Worst
Well, no,
idea ever.
I don't want that to happen either. However, I see America going more and more towards Gilead, and the thing that spawned Gilead as it was in The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood was nuclear war.
Yeah.
Because that was written in the 80s and the Cold War was a thing, and they might get bombed and irradiated. And if that happened, then there would be certain people who live in certain areas who would no longer be fertile, who would no longer be able to hold babies. And with the patriarchal society at the moment, it's very easy to see where they come from, where Margaret Atwood was coming from with Under His Eye. And it is never the man who cannot get the woman pregnant. It is the woman who is at fault.
Yeah, well, that's a very ancient and non-scientific belief that people genuinely held in the past.
I know it's a belief that people have genuinely held. However, it was punishable by death if you suggested that the man couldn't do it.
I know, it's very interesting how she brought that into her book.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating. But that's not where we're up to, because we started in 1949.
So
the 80s is jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry. We are going to be jumping all around the history because I'm.
Oh yeah, because it's all interesting and interlinked and weird. My next thing was that I found very interesting was Doris Day. She's an animal welfare activist. She started, at first it was just for pets, but then she started a shelter and charity, and she was doing personal appearances for this charity up until fairly recently, and then she passed away in May 2019, on the 13th of May. So
recently.
This has been really good for me because I found out a lot of information about interesting people.
Yeah. She made some significant money, but looking at those famous actresses in the past and how still they were so controlled about by people around them are sometimes really depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, women don't have independent thought or autonomy and cannot be trusted to make decisions about themselves, their living conditions, or their future.
Except for AOC. She can, and the Queen. Nobody else.
Well, I watched the Queen Elizabeth, The Crown on Netflix, that series, and it went a lot into how controlled her life was until she went, no.
Yeah.
And even still, she sort of was very keeping with traditions and was treading this line. But
I think that her sister,
Margaret,
was the one who was like free. Because I didn't watch too much of it.
yeah.
But I went and watched the episode with Matthew Good because he's very good. And it's pronounced good, but it's not because there's an E on the end and I can't say it like that.
He's a goodie.
And I just watched the episodes with him in. And that's when she like met him and they got together and she's going to parties going, well, nobody gives a fuck. Basically, she didn't say fuck. Well, nobody cares about if I'm the queen, or if I'm, the princess of whatever. Nobody's talking to me and everybody's treating me like I'm just somebody who's there. And she loved it.
Yeah, I found Margaret's life fascinating and did a lot of reading about her during high school. She was amazing.
Yeah. So, sorry.
No, that's okay. The next topic in the song was Red China, referring to communist China. And as far as I'm aware, China is still a communist country.
They're communist with Chinese quality. They really haven't been communist since Zhou Enlai, I think, or like sometime mid-80s. One of the leaders came out and said, to be rich is good, you can go ahead and make money. However, there's still significant control over the large companies, and Chinese government still owns and controls many companies. But the modern thing that I want to discuss when it comes to China is the thing that I recently discovered about how China has used technology from other countries to actually build their supremacy in the world. And it's quite interesting because they're obviously massively wealthy because they're manufacturing so much of the goods in the entire world. But for a lot of time, there's been this thing that China has technically outlawed now called forced technology transfer. So what has been happening for decades now is if you're an American company or like a company for the European Union, and you want to go to China and get them to manufacture your goods, the Chinese companies put pressure on the foreign companies to pass over their technology, like the trade secrets and stuff.
So they can do the knockoffs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a little snippet, forced technology transfer is a central sticking point in the continuing US-China trade fight. US executives regularly complain that they are pressured to share or give away crucial technology in exchange for access to China's market and claim it undermines the competitiveness of foreign firms.
So don't go there.
Yeah, get it built somewhere else, right?
Yeah. Like, there's other countries,
but
shockingly.
They've pinned their dollar so low to the US dollar and they fix it there, unrealistically fix it there. I don't know how they can play that game, that it's just really cheap to do that. That it's just really cheap for, American and other European nations to do that. And European Union have recently been complaining as well. And the Chinese government just goes, European businesses in China say forced technology transfer into local firms have become more common than over the past 2 years as foreign firms battle for access to the world's second-largest economy. Such technology transfers have continued to take place despite official assurances that the practice would be stopped. According to an annual survey, of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China, 20% of the survey's 585 participants saying they have felt compelled to transfer technology to maintain market access from 10% in 2017. So it's gone up from 10 to 20% in a year. And then, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
The Chinese leader, or the foreign ministry spokesman Liu Kang, said that you're not allowed to do that and, quote, if those companies truly have such concerns, I hope they can provide concrete evidence. If their concerns are legitimate and facts-based, it can be totally addressed because we clearly have this policy, but without any proof, you cannot just invent that from thin air.
Americans are paranoid. Go away.
That's full-on language manipulation.
Yeah.
And So
unrelated, I should totally show you a Facebook post where I posted something and then someone responded to it with a wall of text that basically said nothing. So I sent back several paragraphs that kind of said, you're a terrible human being and you're insecure, but I'm not going to say that because I'm not putting energy into the relationship between you and I of any kind.
Yay! Wait, is this long ago or more recent?
Oh, I posted this like a couple of days yesterday or something. It was the one about the robot sex thing.
Oh God!
I didn't read the article. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't read the article. I just posted it because I'm like, this title means what? There's no punctuation because it's a newspaper article, and so they don't generally have a lot of punctuation anyway. But let's see if I can find it. There we go. Robot sex expert on honours list plans college with Fraser Anning to teach quote-unquote Trumpism.
Yeah.
So someone
he's
posted
putting together a college with Fraser Anning and one of the subjects is going to be Trumpism. Is that what I took from that?
Yeah, so Fraser Anning and Adrian Cheok, who is made a member of the Order of Australia, who has been censored for aggressive, belittling language towards colleagues, and Fraser Anning, who is our favourite, and something in the Senate again anyway. I didn't read that article either because I'm terrible.
Kill me now.
Yeah. So, yes, a robot sex expert and former far-right candidate who was awarded a Queen's Birthday honour for, quote, significant service to international education says he is setting up a graduate school with Fraser Anning, which will teach classes on, quote, Trumpism and, quote, Bannonism, as in Steve Bannon.
Yeah. Please.
Which is...
Oh, no, I can't.
Yeah, I got there and I went, nope, not reading it, don't care.
Back away from... Damn it, though, you've already clicked on it. You gave them the click. Oh, well.
This is
done
true.
Now. Genie out of the box.
But that's okay, because this drivel that was commented on my post, it's important for us to make the world a better place. We hold people to... Oh, sorry. It is important that for us to make the world a better place, we hold people to account. Many resist growth and desire to stay in their old methods as it's comfortable. Being a voice in society speaking out against inappropriate behaviour gives confidence to others to enforce their boundaries also. I'm like, okay, cool. So I responded, thank you for your insight.
What has that got to do with what you posted?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I responded to him saying people who are insecure or afraid will generally go with what they brackets think they know, making the assumption that by sticking to the status quo, they aren't going to be harmed. Unfortunately, this is not usually the case. This would be when the same actions are undertaken over and over, and then surprised at not seeing a different outcome. I find that people who are not secure in themselves become reactive and externalize blame when a boundary is affirmed or confirmed to them. If someone is restating a boundary, they may feel that they are not being heard and withdraw from interactions with those that make themselves unpleasant to deal with. Stating, restating, affirming selfhood/autonomy and boundaries can be exhausting. Change or growth, simply for the sake of change or growth, is not necessarily healthy. Mindful reflection to not make the same decisions that would initially seem to be the easy way, then making conscious choice about deciding differently in the future is about learning from the past. And then I end this with a quote. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. George Santayana. Which is relevant because he's in the original song too.
Ah.
Santayana, goodbye.
Yes.
George Santayana. Yes.
We're skipping ahead.
I'm sorry, it was relevant.
I have nothing to say about Johnnie Ray. And I have nothing
he died
to
in
say.
1990. So I went, okay, that's enough. He died on the 24th of February 1990, so very shortly after 1989. So couldn't really be relevant in this period.
Yeah, and I didn't care or do any further research on South Pacific, Walter Winchell, or Joe DiMaggio. Yeah, Joe DiMaggio. Well, he played a sport.
Yes, Joe DiMaggio was a baseball player and was briefly married to Marilyn Monroe. He died in 1999. Like just before the year 2000. 1999.
Yeah.
So I thought that was quite interesting, but he basically did a lot for the baseball club that he had played for, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Walter Winchell, he's mentioned in the song because he died in 1972, and I think he did other stuff, but he didn't really catch my eye.
He made I guess the thing is, he made the gossip column. Well, that probably started the long downward spiral of shit media that we have today. Not that all media is bad, but a great proportion of it is just opinion and gossip.
Like this bit.
Yeah. No. I mean, oh shit.
We're important, man. We're
Are
real
we just
journalists.
Opinion? Yeah, no, we're majority opinion. We're not media though. We are
we kind of are participating in media if people actually do download and then actually do listen to what we've got to say, because we are bringing new and different thoughts to the universe.
So I can claim that I'm a reporter. I love it. I love it. Yes.
Well, you
I
don't
love
have
it.
the professional
Thank you.
indemnity, but yes.
Shh. Why not? If you do the thing and you
No,
make money, oh shit, that part.
Yeah, that part. We're not doing that part.
Okay.
Pay us money. We're awesome. I did do a little bit of research on South Pacific. So South Pacific was a musical made into a very cheesy, but of its era, musical movie.
Yeah.
And then, this I did not know, in 2001, it was remade again. The racial tensions were highlighted and actually discussed in the film, but they cut a whole bunch of songs out that people who knew the original movie would have liked. And astoundingly, it went straight to DVD. So that was in 2001.
So surprising.
I know. It has Glenn Close in it, though, and other people, but she was the interesting one.
Oh, yeah, her. Who is that? No, I think I know her.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently she can sing.
Okay. So Joe McCarthy, what are we...
Well, he died in 1957, which is why he was mentioned in the song. But I found an article in the Washington Post, and it was how Trump turned the Republicans against McCarthyism. So it took 70 years for Republicans to stop defending Joe McCarthy and his way of thinking.
But Joe McCarthy was the guy who went on the witch hunt that inspired The Crucible, that play.
Yeah. No, it's we use McCarthyism to malign Democrats now who dare demand answers about Trump's ties to Russia.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a circle.
That I'm not. No, I'm not delving into that.
I could. Let me summarize, right?
Let me sum up.
Let me sum up. It might take me a few minutes. So I have gone down the deep, deep rabbit hole of watching the mess for the last couple of weeks. After the Mueller report came out, I was like, what is this Mueller report? And why haven't they impeached this idiot yet?
So, because they couldn't find him guilty.
No.
Well, they didn't find him innocent, but the report basically summed up to, we cannot, in this sense, find him guilty of these crimes that he's done. And so basically they were kind of, hey, someone charge him with this, because we don't have that power.
Yeah,
and
because
everyone's
he's a
gone,
Department of Justice. It's not constitutional for the Department of Justice, which he was a Department of Justice employee. It is unconstitutional for a Department of Justice employee to charge the president while he is in office. So it is not possible to charge him. Therefore, when you're delivering...
the Department of Justice, though.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Someone else could bring charges.
Yes, and he very clearly said, that is for another area of the government. He was basically saying, hello, Congress, I cannot do it, but you can. But the other thing is, he said...
Trump's been saying, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. This report shows that I'm innocent.
No.
Fox and Friends have been saying, oh, look, he's innocent, and only playing snippets. But MSNBC is sort of going,
yeah.
Oh, God, let's make fun of these idiots, and being all intellectual at it.
But the most important point is that that in the past, when they did the Clinton thing, the guy who was working for the Department of Justice then actually made like the allegations, right? He actually said he's done this, and he made informal charges just in his rhetoric, but not officially. Whereas Mueller he's been a Republican all his life, but that doesn't matter. He is an extremely he has a person with extreme integrity, and he just said, if I cannot take you to court, which I can't, it would be totally inappropriate for me to indicate that if there are any charges,
like these ones,
without a court, exactly, like all of this evidence shows, without some process for the person being charged to answer, it is inappropriate to make charges. However, Congress, the unspoken part of it is Congress can make charges and can bring an indictment because that's where it can happen. So, yeah.
But the thing is, he didn't specifically say it.
No,
and
but he
over
couldn't.
the last few, I know, but over the last, I don't know how long, people just seem to be getting dumber and dumber, and it's really sad.
Yeah, we don't use words very well anymore. And then you've got...
Well, people can't interpret words.
But then you've got the Democrats who were so fearful of... I mean, look, the Senate. What's the Senate passed that the lower house in the United States has passed? Fuck all. Who is actually coming out and showing any integrity in this process on the Republican side? One guy. So the thing is, an indictment does not mean the president gets kicked out. That's not like, oh, you've indicted, you're out. Even if they actually voted to indict him in the upper house, he still wouldn't be out. But there is absolutely zero chance, because the lower house collects all evidence and does all of the hearings, and the Senate says yes or no. The lower house can't say yes or no. The Senate is controlled by the Republicans with zero integrity. They are never going to have a successful indictment. And I think the Democrats just know, if you try to indict Trump and you fail, which you will, he will win.
Yeah,
he
and
will
people
win again, right? And it will take seriously bad polls, like ridiculously terrible, you are absolutely going to lose this next election polls for anyone to flip on that guy.
I don't know. I reckon it would take Fox and Friends actually taking a critical view and saying, actually, Donald Trump is a bad person. We're really sorry we lied to you.
Yeah. There's just the occasional point where Fox has actually been honest recently, like the recent polls that Trump's trying to lie about.
I haven't seen that.
Fox has reported that Trump is losing all these key states and across the country to Joe Biden.
Considering he didn't win the fucking popular vote first go round.
Yeah. And polls are bullshit. I mean, you can say, in Australia, you can say, are you a citizen? Sure. What's your opinion? Sure. But that is actually, yes, because sure, we have to go and vote, or otherwise they fine us. So it's required. So if you ring me and ask me who I'm likely to vote for, it's not 100%, but I do have to go and vote. So if I say I'll vote for that person, 98% chance I'm actually going to have to vote and vote for them, right?
Yeah.
But in the United States, you can ring someone up and go, who would you probably vote for? They're like, I like this person. I'd probably vote for this person. But that does not necessarily translate to having to vote. Picking up the phone and going, them, is not the same as going, hey, boss, can I have the day off because it's a work day? And I need to
Yes.
take 4 hours off because I need to drive for half an hour or whatever, wait in line for 3 fucking hours,
Mm.
and then drive back here.
Yeah.
And I'm poor, and if I take half a day off, I won't be able to make rent this week. Like,
Mm.
and besides which, it's something that I don't even have to do. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you trust somebody's opinion if it's like, my opinion is effortless because you've called me, versus I have to put this massive effort in to actually get that done.
Yeah, with voter ID and voter suppression and all that sort of.
All that.
Let's get back to the song.
Studebaker? No, Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon, he died in 94, and he was a president of the US. I didn't really go any further into him, did you?
We'll talk about Watergate later because it actually mentions it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
yes, Studebaker is the next thing.
Studebaker's interesting because Mayor Pete. Have you heard of Mayor Pete?
Is he the fabulous mayor who's running for president or senate or something?
He is. He is the fabulous one. He's
Excellent.
openly gay, mayor of South Bend.
Is that in
runs
Florida?
I don't know where South Bend is.
Okay.
But notably,
spit out.
doesn't matter. No, leave it in.
Sure.
But notably, the Studebaker factory is in South Bend. And so the
Yes.
Studebaker factory, they've tried to revitalize it and put new kinds of businesses in there, because that was where, that was like the first example of like manufacturing jobs in the United States are starting to be lost.
Yeah. But Studebakers were big cars. And they used a lot of gas, and I don't know that they were as popular as the new muscle cars that were coming in at sort of the same time.
Yeah, sure, but I think that he put that in this song to indicate that here's a turning point. That's the corner where the manufacturing industry in the United States starts to go down.
Well,
right?
he's got it mentioned as 1950 because that's when it started its financial downfall, but it didn't close until 66.
Absolutely. But I think he's put it in 1950 because,
That's when
here's the
everything
turning.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, here's something significantly shifting in the United States of America. And Andrew Yang, who's another presidential candidate, has been going around saying Trump didn't win because of Russia. Trump didn't win because of immigrants. He won because there's a straight line correlation between how many manufacturing jobs were automated away, which was 4 million, in the 4 swing states that he needed to win. So there's a line of correlation between how many manufacturing jobs were lost and how many people voted for Trump. Yeah. And that's why he talks about that a lot. So it's interesting on two fronts. It's about when we start losing the manufacturing power of America, which Yang's talking about a lot, and then Studebaker happens to be in Pete Buttigieg's backyard. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Automation.
Yeah. I didn't really research television all that much. I know that here people have 1 to 2 televisions in their house.
How can you say you haven't researched television? I've been researching television, mind.
Well, I don't think looking at it is actually researching it.
Shh.
Unless it's for art.
Okay, fair enough. It's for irony. North Korea, South Korea.
Yes. He actually mentions a couple of different areas on North Korea and South Korea. North Korea is still under a dictatorship. It's very hard to get information in or out of there. And if you are interested, you can go and have a look on YouTube for Henry Rollins talking about the time he went to North Korea, and he's like saying to all the fans, "Don't recognize me, please, please. I'm not really supposed to be here." And he was under, he had 2 personal people walking him around so that he would appropriately respect and whatever. And the fans are going, "Okay, we understand. We're really excited, and we're going to tweet you when we get home," or something.
Gosh.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So North Korea is still a thing. South Korea, from what I understand, is a lovely place. And something later mentioned in the song is Panmunjom. That's where the North Korea, South Korea armistice was signed in 1953.
Nice.
The town and the building is still there. The demilitarized zone is still there. They still meet in the demilitarized zone, but not in that particular town or building to have like their negotiations and talks and confabs and whatever.
You know, Trump talked to Kim Jong-il. What's his name? Kim Jong-il?
No.
It's Il was the old one.
Yeah.
So, did you hear that he executed or plunged? He executed 5 of the people that were in that meeting with Trump last year.
Oh, no, I did not hear that. I did hear that there was an American tourist who North Korea lost, and then they suddenly found him and sent him back home, and then he died not long after because he was in complete organ failure because he'd been in a North Korean jail for a year.
I heard about that guy too, but no, it was like 2 weeks ago. Reports have come out through South Korea, smuggled out through South Korea, that the young female translator and a few other people were executed because didn't get the deals that he wanted and lifting of sanctions that he wanted. And
so he chucked a tanty and killed people?
Yes, one of them he apparently put into a vat of hungry piranha.
Well, as long as they don't have wounds or blood, that's okay.
No, they were eaten in the vat of hungry piranha.
Well, what's his name? Is it Jeremy Wade, the guy who does River Monsters?
Yes.
Yes. He sat in a tank of piranha, and he was fine.
Because
they weren't.
He didn't have blood.
He didn't have any nicks or cuts or wounds, and he wasn't sort of thrashing about. He was fine. They didn't nibble him. They sort of swam around him like, oh, there's a bigger thing here. We'll just not be in this area where the bigger thing is.
I feel like if Kim Jong-un is going to torture somebody to death with a tank of piranha, he knows
he
how
might
to get
prime
that
it.
done.
Yeah,
they might have been very hungry.
The person might have been terrified out of their brain.
Yeah,
I mean,
they might have just gone, oh, here's a cheese grater first. You're done. In you go.
Oh, that's terrible.
Come on, you know he likes cheese. Sorry.
What's red and white and sits in a corner?
I don't know.
Baby with a pillar.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no, that...
Sorry.
Meanwhile, Marilyn Monroe. This is, before she sang to the president and then promptly died.
Yeah. Well, she was... that's the year she married Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah.
So that's what she's famous for in that year, as well as starring in 5 films. She
have
was
you ever
actually
seen...
highly intelligent.
Yeah, but totally drugged out because they controlled her. And
She used to get
mm,
really, really bad migraines around her period. And
mm,
so her studio schedule
mm,
was sort of allowed for that because she just could not function. They gave her a lot of drugs, which had bad interactions with each other and her,
mm.
which didn't help. But yeah, like they gave her diet pills and uppers and downers
Yeah.
and everything. If you would like to hear more about that, there is a Forgotten History podcast that did a series on the blondes of Hollywood.
Oh, cool.
Yes, so it goes into Jane Mansfield and Marilyn and a few other lovely women who really did not get credit for the insane amount of hard work that they did. Like Marilyn started writing
Yeah.
screenplays and started writing her own parts and was
Oh,
learning how to direct and wanted to become a director. Um,
wow.
unfortunately, she passed away in 1962.
I didn't know any of that about Marilyn.
Mm. Was it Forgotten History or Forbidden History? I don't know. It's a podcast and it's really good and you should find it yourself. Go away.
That actually reminds me of a TED talk by we'll link it. I can't remember the name, but it was about it basically, I think the title was Women Need to Write the Stories of Humanity. And
Yes. Oh, I've seen
yeah,
several different things like that.
and she was, she went to see these ancient cave paintings, right? Because she's a
Mm.
movie maker and a director, and she went to see these ancient cave paintings, and they're
Mm.
like, the men of the tribe would blah 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 these paintings on the blah blah blah, and she's like, how do you know it's men?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, women didn't do that. She's like,
Well, what did they do?
no, she was like, how do you know that women didn't do that? The
Mm.
evidence of the society that has remained is these fucking cave paintings.
Yeah.
And if you really look into history, what, like we imagine all of these things about the way, like the ancient Greeks lived, for example.
Or the Vikings even. Like
Yeah.
some archaeologists dug up some Vikings and
Yeah.
they went, these were all men because they all have swords. So they were all warriors and the notching on their bones said they got injured doing fighting and
Mm.
dangerous things. And then some anthropologists came along and went, you know that this bunch of ones are women?
Yeah, there's been a lot of
So,
analysis from history.
mm.
Because
But history's
history
mostly been
analysis,
researched by men. So of
absolutely,
course they're going to say only men did
it
these
was
things.
no, but it wasn't then. It was their ideology of the time that
Mm.
the men had while they were analyzing it. Men these days don't necessarily live in that ideology and have more science. But the problem with history is you get the archaeologists
Mm.
and then you get the archaeological historians.
Mm.
And then you get the historians. So the archaeologists dig it up and identify it. They're
Mhm.
more like scientists. Then you get the archaeological historians, which try to use the primary data and the analysis of the archaeologist to start to build a basic story. And then you get historians who read all these other people's work and put
Mhm.
it together. So
Mm.
they don't necessarily use primary sources to do
Mm.
their analysis. They use sources that were written 200 years after the fact. We have
Mm.
no idea if people who lived in Sparta left babies up on the hills. Some dude wrote that 200 years after.
I think we researched that, didn't we? And we found
Yeah.
that there was no actual evidence for it.
Yeah. Yeah, we discussed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have my examples and I stick to
That's okay.
them. So where are we? The
Rosenbergs.
Rosenbergs.
So they were executed for treason because they were spies.
Oh, I love it.
Mm.
Oh, who else do we want to execute for treason in this day and age?
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
Can't think of anyone.
Julian Assange they're considering sending him to the United States now.
Yeah, so that he can be executed for treason.
Mm.
Or at least put in the cushy prison of Guantanamo. I hear so many good things about that.
I mean, I've heard of that place. Isn't it like a summer camp?
Yeah, totally. It's down in Mexico, so the weather's always good. Yeah.
That's great. Beautiful one day, torturous the next. H-bomb.
Yes. So from what I found on the internet, H-bomb means hydrogen bomb, and there was only 2 of them ever used.
Mm-hmm.
And they were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes.
But
yeah.
the H-bomb is no longer in use. I think they were, from what I can find, they were all decommissioned.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got other more advanced nuclear and thermonuclear weapons, and they're all in readiness.
Fantastic.
Yay!
Oh, you know what I heard the other day, actually. Okay, so it was Andrew Yang again, because I've been listening to these guys a lot. No. He's like, well, I discussed with some guy whose job it is to press the button for these, nuclear devices. And he's like, oh yeah, what sort of safeguards are there? He's like, no safeguards. The president wanders over, says, send that there. And then all we do is just do that as quickly as possible. And Andrew Yang's like, shouldn't there be like another step in between the president
What happened to
and
the football?
No, that's a movie thing apparently.
No, well, no, it's not. There was a young, I don't remember what service he was with, but there was a young black guy who, when Trump was sworn in, he was taking care of the football, which is the nuclear codes,
Yeah.
and whatever. And I don't remember what happened, but there was a kerfuffle around him at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's an actual thing. Let me
Yeah, but
to the internet, and I will get sources.
I'll try to find this. Where was I at the time? I was walking around Spotlight.
Oh, nuclear football. Ah, here we go. The nuclear football, also known as the atomic football, the president's emergency satchel.
Yeah, but the president
it's a briefcase.
The
contents which are to be used by the president of the US to authorize a nuclear attack. While away from fixed command centers such as the White House sit room.
There you go. Yeah, so
it's a mobile thing.
Yeah, so it's fine. But the thing is, there's nothing between, like, if Trump's got that football in his hand, right? Or if he just goes, oi, Joe, bring me the football. And then he gets the football. He's like, hey, button man, press the button. That's it. Okay, I'm going to press the button as soon as possible. Done. No checks, no head of defense, no blah, blah, blah. Like, it probably would happen, but it doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, okay. But yes, no, the nuclear football is actually a thing.
Does it look like a football, or is it briefcase shaped?
It is a briefcase, but it's called the football because codes.
Because they pass it around. Hey, go long!
Pretty much. Here we go. A military aide carries the nuclear football.
Yeah.
And it goes in the vicinity of the president all of the time.
Nice.
I found a Guardian article from 2016, And it's got photos of military aides from different services from what I can see, so it must rotate. One of them is there in Red Square with the football when Ronald Reagan was president, and in Red Square.
Wow.
No.
Oh my God. Not here. Yeah. Don't send it here. Okay.
I don't want it.
Yeah. Sugar Ray.
Didn't look at anything about that because he died in 1989.
And he was a boxer.
Oh.
Panmunjom, the border village of Korea. Oh, this is the one.
We talked about that, yeah.
Yep.
So Marlon Brando, temperamental artiste and popularizer of the method acting school of being a dick.
Well, it's interesting, method actors are so weird. Like, okay, your characters just run 5K. So off you go. Run 5K.
But see, sometimes method actors will do things like, okay, so my character runs 5K, or The Machinist. Good example of this. The Machinist was filmed in the same year that What's His Face did Batman.
Yeah.
Christian Bale? I don't know. But he went from...
I mean, he was one of the Batman, so yes.
Yes. He went from fighting weight, so a bit heavier than healthy, because he bulked up a lot for Batman.
Yep.
And then he became cadaverous within a fairly short period of time.
I remember seeing something about this.
And because part of it was he felt guilty about something. And so he wasn't eating, he wasn't sleeping, and basically Doofus didn't eat or sleep enough to be healthy during that whole thing.
But didn't he do that for a role?
Yeah, The Machinist. But yeah, no, I'm surely there's better ways of, and not doing it so quickly, because that puts a real strain on your body.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
I mean, I probably could if I had people paying me in motivation.
I might still sneak cheese.
I love you. But yes, Marlon Brando, he died in 2004.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you ever see The King and I? I watched the movie version. Obviously, I didn't see Broadway.
Yeah, no, I didn't see Broadway. I saw the Yul Brynner one. I didn't see the Jodie Foster one.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, me too. It's so creepy now to think of the storyline.
Though all I can think of is those hoop skirts and all those bums, because he walked in the room and all the wives lay down on their tummies.
Yeah.
Or in child pose, or whatever they did.
Creepy, uncomfortable, misogynist that we all fall in love with. No. Well, try not to. She didn't fall in love with him?
She did, but I like to think he was better by the end.
Okay. Sure.
I don't. It's been a long time, and I think I only saw it once.
There is something to be said for people who actually like to be treated, to have a firm hand guiding them, but that's a personal choice, and it's not something every woman would make. Do you know what I mean? But some women do like that, and I forgive them. They're allowed.
Kink is a thing as well. Like, people in high-powered positions, be they male or female, may choose to be a submissive or bottom or slave
But
to
somebody,
someone else in their private life while they're to relieve stress while they're out being all-powerful.
But I just think not in a defined kink way where you have a definition and a defined rules. Some people, women and men, do like to be in a relationship with someone who is quite powerful. And if that is what they enjoy, maybe it takes some of the responsibility off them.
It does. It would reduce the need for executive function, so decision making.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think about where your next meal is coming from, and you don't have to think about when you're going to have sex with this person, and you don't have to think about what you're going to wear or, you know, whatever, because you're going to get told.
Yeah.
And the expectation there is that you'll do what you're told. And you may well just do that because you like not having to think about where your next meal is coming from and how to get clothes and, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it makes a few things easy.
It would make a lot of things easy. But I personally believe that if you are going to be a part of that type of relationship, then you should negotiate clear boundaries and every now and again check in and renegotiate if necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm the type of feminist that believes that women are humans.
I like to think that anyone is allowed to do what they want to do, regardless if it fits somebody else's definition of what somebody should be like. But that being said, there's a lot of examples of where that's not actually somebody's choice.
Yeah, there are. I like the pagan or Wiccan belief of do as thou wilt and ye harm none. It's a good thing to live by. I also like the kink scene with their safe, sane, and consensual.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing.
And that was
the
King and I.
That was The King and I. The Catcher in the Rye has been a banned book in America basically since it was released. It was published as a book in 1951, and I make that distinction because it was released serially between 1945 and 1946. Now, that's how books used to be printed. For example, Mark Twain and who's the guy who wrote the Three Ghost one? Scrooge.
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
Yes.
We'll look it up so we sound more intelligent. Yes.
No, it's fine. That guy.
But yeah, so Mark Twain, when he was releasing all of his everything initially, because he was also a journalist, he would publish it as a weekly. So some chapters were longer than others because how much time he devoted to writing.
That's interesting.
A
reason
lot of
why,
authors did it in the 1800s because
the reason why Lord of the Rings is broken up into 6 books is because the British Library at the time couldn't afford to buy books that big.
Yeah. And also books at that time were made to be read aloud because not everyone could read.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 40s, I think more people than not were taught how to read. But I just found that interesting that because of the swearing and the themes, It was banned. It's also been banned in other places.
I just read a little blurb of it that said, it was originally intended for adults, but is read by alienation for its themes, and its themes of angst, alienation, and as a critique on superficiality in society. Now, do we still have a superficial society?
That's why books shouldn't be banned.
Yeah.
And if you go to banned library, I will not suggest that should be your reading list.
Banned library. I don't know about this place, but I will check it out later.
It is on the interweb nets.
My favorite banned book is 1984.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it's not banned in the Western world, but it's banned in China. So,
well, Psycho, the book, is still a banned book. And up until 5 to 10 years ago in Queensland, it had to be bought in a brown paper cover.
Is that the book that they made the movie from?
Yep. American Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, Christian Bale. But it's a hard read.
Not Psycho.
Oh, not
American
Psycho. The one where he hallucinates killing everybody or killing hookers. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, maybe that's a no. Killing hookers. I might not read it. I might read Catcher in the Rye though.
It's a stream of consciousness. So it is kind of hard to read, and it's very, very heavily Wall Street 80s.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I had to look up quite a few references when I was reading the book.
Here's a question. Do you think that Kim Kardashian's ever read Catcher in the Rye?
I'm surprised that she can use a smartphone.
That is her bread and butter.
I know, but I'm not confident that she can, read, write, and string together a sentence on her own.
Yeah. It is surprising.
Anywho.
1952.
Yes, Dwight D. Eisenhower is elected as the President of the US. It was a landslide.
Landslide, 442 to 89.
But that was electoral vote.
Yeah.
Which is the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Rather than the popular vote. I don't know what the popular vote was.
What was... yeah.
I don't care.
What was Trump's...
Well, Hillary won the popular.
Yeah.
And Trump won the Electoral College. So that's how he got in.
He got 306.
Wait.
Yeah, but she got... Yeah. 306, so he got significantly more.
Yeah. Because they didn't want a woman there.
It's funny how no matter what Trump does, people will not turn away from him. And it's funny how the society is more and more fractured. I blame the media. It's not all the media. I blame certain parts and the way that it's segregated out.
Yeah. I was watching Patriot Act on Netflix with Hassan Minaj. And the last episode that or the most recent episode that he did, the one that was uploaded on Sunday, he made the point that some areas in the US, particularly regional, but even suburban areas, do not have access to broadband internet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do not have access to dial-up internet. Or they may have some 4G.
Yeah.
but that's because of monopolies that the phone companies the internet providers are just working together on.
Yeah, I've seen.
But Netflix,
Yeah,
you can order or you can get from Netflix DVDs.
I know, that's where they started their business.
Yes, but you can still get them.
In the United States, right? Not in Australia.
Yeah, potentially not in Australia, but yeah, definitely in the US. And so, what's happening in the US is because some people can't get access to the internet. There are some school buses in regional areas that have Wi-Fi on them, so that kids can do their homework.
Yeah, well, I've seen in the news where, this one, it was a little like report, 15-minute report, where these kids in this one town, there was this area that was kind of on the crest of a hill where you could just get 4G. So all the parents of the kids who needed to do their homework would park on the side of the road on the crest of this hill for a little while so their kids could do some research for that was the internet. It's like,
and this is in 2019 that is how the internet is.
They have multiple countries. They have the city and they have the countryside. And
so what some people do is they go to the Macca's parking lot, or they'll go to the Macca's and sit inside with, the cheapest thing on the menu.
Yeah.
And do their homework, or doctors who are on call who need to be able to video chat.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So Macca's can get it, but nobody in the town, nobody else in the that's ridiculous.
Well, Macca's does have a little bit of money behind them.
Do they?
Yeah, just a bit. So they might be able to just bully the internet provider into giving them decent internet, and then as a result of them being able to get decent internet and providing free Wi-Fi so that people will go there, people are going there so that they can use the free Wi-Fi.
Wow.
It makes me want to cry.
Vaccine.
Yes. So, in the song Vaccine is mentioned in 1952 because it's privately tested in that year by Jonas Salk.
Yeah.
However, I've found that
for polio, the polio one.
Polio vaccine, yes. There is a website called polioeradication.org. Polio is almost extinct. There are more cases of wild polio, which is a thing, than there are of, I don't remember what domesticated polio is called. But please vaccinate your crotch goblins. Because the resurgence of measles and whooping cough is so bad. I knew adults who had polio when I was growing up. I saw them. I saw the results of that. No, we don't want to kill our children.
Yes. There's the measles rate rises. This is from 2 months ago. Measles rate rises amongst global outbreak, but Australia's immunity remains high. So that's good.
Except if you're in Byron or Mullumbimby or in the northern New South Wales.
Yeah, well, there was a person with measles who flew from Melbourne to Christchurch. Have also been measles outbreaks in New Zealand, Japan, the United States. In recent months, more than 200 people have died in the Philippines this year. And
people are dying from measles in 2019.
77 cases of measles in Australia nationwide. 77. I have to say, you know what? Kids who, I mean, the connection between other diseases is false, but I would rather anything that they suggest that it causes. I mean, now they're saying it causes cancer, for goodness sake, which is wrong. But
I've had cancer. It wasn't from vaccine.
yeah, no, it's just so.
I'm on the autism spectrum. I'm pretty sure it's not from vaccine.
Yeah. Both of my kids are taking Ritalin. It's not from vaccine.
Well, Ritalin's more for the ADHD or ADD side of things rather than the autism side of things because you can't treat autism.
Yeah. No, but
you can socialize around it. You can teach how to be socially and emotionally intelligent.
Or at least appear.
Or yeah, appear to
somebody
be
does
socially or
that,
emotionally.
I'm not going to turn around and hit them. I'm going to go, that's just humanness. Yeah, but yesterday, my little one, pediatrician.
Oh, how'd that go?
Yes. Actually, she's probably worse than her sister. Okay. It's true. She is worse than her sister. Her sister's got the language literacy difficulty thing, but the ADHD-ness is worse. And I didn't know this, but she gets too close to the kids in her class, so she's always hanging off us, and she comes over and she grabs people randomly without. But that was to me, and that was to her sister, and that was to her dad. So I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable, but she does it to people outside our family as well.
Well, she tried to take my sock off for some reason while I was at your place, and I said,
Yeah.
please don't do that. I would like to keep my socks on. And then she started hitting it.
Lack of understanding of personal space and inability to take correction.
So I said, I would like you to know that my foot is in my sock, and that when you slap my sock, you are slapping my foot. It could be, though, because I wear hand knit socks, which look different to regular socks.
And they are awesome.
I love my hand knit socks. I need to make more.
Yeah. How long does a pair take you?
About the same amount of time as making a jumper.
So, 2 months.
Well, it depends on how much time I put into it. But yeah, it can take a couple of months if I only do it on public transport, for example.
Okay. That, yes.
Because I only have a 20-minute public transport into work and home again.
I finally graduated from only crocheting stuff for myself to actually giving people things that I crochet. So a person I work with, she's going to have a baby. I made her a 50 by 50 centimeter blanket because, yes.
You like her, but not that much?
Well, it's a baby blanket. It's just like if you have a baby and you need to put them on something.
I'm making a granny square baby blanket at the moment, and
I like it, but not that much. Are you saying that? Oh,
well, I'm saying that mine's probably going to be about maybe 1 meter square, so that it can be swaddled. And I may or may not be doing a sort of weighted style of blanket as well.
I
like
made this
differing textures and stuff.
I made it specifically chunky but tightly knit crocheted so that it would be like a surface to put under the baby.
Ah, okay. See, mine's sort of more to put
around the baby.
over or around.
Yeah.
But because I'm making it out of acrylic, you can also put it under. But it's not tightly crocheted. It's there's gaps in it because granny square gaps.
Yeah. I
If
did
you don't know what a granny square is, go to the internet.
Yeah, I did the corner to corner style, so they're
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of
I
groups
like
of
those.
3,
Yep.
but there's not that much space in between them. You can stretch it out and pull out the holes, but when it's just in its natural state, there's no holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be nice if you're like out, and there's grass and you want to put your baby down. You just put this down. Or if it's, a kind of a hard surface, it's quite cushy.
Okay. Yeah. I do like that style, but I wanted to try a different. I wanted to get more confident in crochet because that's not my main thing. I knit. So I thought I'm going to practice crochet by making my husband's brother's partner a baby blanket because she is about 23 weeks pregnant.
Cool. And there's a reason why everyone starts with granny square.
Yeah, because it's a little bit, you get into a bit of a flow state.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
time
that's right.
passes while you're doing it. Yeah. Doesn't take a lot of effort.
All right. The Queen of England.
Yes, new queen. That's Queen Elizabeth II, and 2019, she's still queen.
Still queen. She's
She's
great.
still doing the things, and I'm quite pleased.
And she had a 2-hour conversation with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump loves the crap out of her.
And she was practicing her crown and brooch warfare.
Yeah.
You know that's a thing, right?
No, what do you mean?
Okay, so when she met with Barack Obama, she had a crown that was given to her as a gift for peace. The one that she wore with Trump was more elaborate and had rubies in it, and it was from a country that owes fealty to her as the queen. Yeah. And the different brooches that she has have been given to her as gifts from different people through the years. And so they have different meaning. Some are big and elaborate, some are smaller, some are from presidents or premiers or prime ministers that she liked. And so she'll wear it the next time that she sees them or someone from that country.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, look it up. There's a whole thing. Because she's English.
Brooch. Yeah, because you can't actually say you're an idiot, so you wear a brooch to indicate that they're an idiot. Yes.
Well, it's to sort of, it's like putting your armor on, you know?
Yeah.
So you put your bracelets and your necklaces and your rings and your makeup and your, and even if you're feeling really like you need a leg up, you'll put on certain underwear and then your clothes and then a certain pair of shoes, and like you might have a power set of heels, or you might need your stompy docks, or something like that, and that's putting your armor on.
Yeah.
Instead of putting on plate and mail, because we're not allowed to hit people anymore. Yes, it's your costume. I like to say that I'm cosplaying a responsible adult. That's the response I usually get.
Okay. The Marciano.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Guy. Boxing.
Yeah, his name, because his name is Rocky Marciano, was the inspiration for the name and the fighting style of the Rocky movie series.
Rocky.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Heavyweight box. Okay, fair enough. I just looked at that and went, boxing, meh.
Yeah, I thought, let's have a look and see what other information I can dig up and test my Google-foo-ness.
Nice.
Hmm.
I think we should finish this after Liberace and Santiago Anna Goodbye, because it's already gone for an hour and a half.
Yep, okay, that's cool. We can do that and then pick up next.
Tomorrow we can do
Yeah.
Joseph Stalin and etc. because there's another bunch of stuff to talk about after that.
Et
We don't want to
cetera,
make it 3 hours long. Yeah.
No, we're not doing that again. So Liberace, he's mentioned in 1952 because that's when he started a television show for his musical entertainment.
Yep.
But I found, as well as, a couple of telemovies that have been done about him, that he died in 1987. And
yeah.
he was involved in a few court cases. There were two famous ones. One was in England, and he coined the phrase, "I'm going to cry all the way to the bank." So that's where that came from. But because gay at that time was bad and illegal and wrong, he sort of fought these court battles to say, no, I'm not gay. He died of pneumonia after contracting the AIDS virus. Now, a few years before that, he'd actually let go his limo driver, who was totally not his live-in lover. And so the limo driver's like, no, I'm more important than that. This is a divorce settlement, except we weren't married. And then he kind of realized, and the limo driver kind of realized in the last few months of Liberace's life that Liberace was dying. And I think it kind of made him realize that that's why maybe him Liberace contracting the AIDS virus, that may be why Liberace was pushing the limo driver out of his life.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because AIDS is no joke, man.
Well, not
use
then.
condoms, people.
No, well, not ever, but not then. Now there's there's a lot of drugs that are available if you can afford them.
Yeah,
that you can actually live a much better life. But back then.
And you may be, instead of having or contracting full-blown AIDS, you may be just stuck on the HIV stage.
Oh my gosh.
And you may not trip over into the more deadly AIDS virus.
We've only done 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've gotten through 4 years. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Shit. We're going to be talking about this for a month.
And that's okay.
Okay.
Because we can. So we'll end it on Santiana Goodbye. Santiana died in 1952 on the 26th of September. And he was a philosopher, poet, and novelist. And he said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Very, very interesting at the moment, considering
the world,
what we don't know about how we've gotten sucked into wars even in the last century, in this century, or in the last 20 years. And if we haven't seen the way that rhetoric begins and how we get dragged in places, when it happens again, like it's happening right now.
Let's just say that The Handmaid's Tale, 1984, and other dystopian novels are not a handbook on how to run the universe.
No, they're not a guide.
No, don't live by those things.
Although Trump definitely likes Big Brother.
In the 1984 sense.
And China's definitely trying to implement the mass surveillance. So, yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of surveillance out in the world already, and there is already the potential for mishaps if that surveillance becomes available to people who will use it for nefarious means.
They're pouring bucket loads into facial recognition.
Doesn't work.
Loads.
The UK or London in particular has had facial recognition on their traffic cams for ages, and they've had a really low rate of success with that. But I think we should talk about that next time.
Yeah. Okay.
So Santiago, goodbye.
More about China in there later. Yes, Santiago, goodbye. And goodbye.
And goodbye and good night.